That is amazing. I was fascinated when I saw Sondra's store. It was amazing. I hope I can get to go there sometime myself. And we are absolutely lucky enough to have Sondra Celli in the studio here today. And we're going to talk with her about the process of making these amazing dressers, a little bit about herself, and I can't wait to see what we find out.
Welcome to the show, Sondra.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming on. It's an absolute pleasure, and it's
we both watched the show.
We both watched the show.
So.
I watched it with my sister, and even from a guy's point of view, it's a really cool thing what you do.
Thank you.
I think we can all agree that it's just out of this world. Now, why don't you tell us a little bit about when a customer comes to you, what is the process? Does the customer present you with a design? Do you have a book of designs that you present? How do you work?
Well, I've been with the Gypsies for over 30 years. So pretty much with the Gypsies, it's a lot of trust in me. So they'll call, and of course, they're like every young girl. These girls are young, so they're reading Vogue and Harper's Bazaar and whatever, and they're going on the internet. So they'll pull up ideas of things they want, and it's up to me to kind of combine them and make what they're looking for. So I'll do a little of this and a little of that and sketch it up. I mean, today in this generation, I mean, we have, you know, we can scan and fax and email, and we can do all those things we couldn't do years ago, send it to someone's phone. And I mean, years ago, I used to have to make a sketch and mail it and wait a week to get back to me. Not today, it's so easy. So within minutes between phones and everything, we can go back and forth and change it, and I can resketch it. So it's like that. So it's obviously, they're brides, most of them, so they have an idea in their head of what they want. And then I just take it from there, and there's also money involved. So, you know, if they want to spend X amount of dollars, I have to juggle the design around to fit it into that too.
Of course.
So you said you've been involved with the Gypsies for 30 years. Is that correct?
Yeah, over 30.
Over 30 years.
35 years.
So how did that start? How did they start knowing that Sondra is the woman to go to if you want a blinged out dress?
I guess like you guys, I went to college, and I was in college, and I got out of school. I lived in New York City for 19 years. And when I was in my early 20s, I started working for some major department stores, and the Gypsies were pretty savvy. And in those days, which you won't remember, they had Rolodexes.
You have we know what a Rolodex is. You gotta.
So they went to one of the top stores in Texas, and they moved the assistant to the side there, sales assistant, and they stole my number out of the Rolodex. And they started calling me, and I got all these orders. And to make a long story short, stacks orders to be shipped to the same street. And I thought, how could all these stores be on the same street? And then I called someone I knew in this business, and she said, honey, you're shipping a trailer park, and that's why they're all in the same street. I said, you're kidding me. She said, no, you're shipping campers. And they're lying to you, and they're telling you that they're stores. And I didn't know what a Gypsy even was.
That is too funny. I can't believe that's how you got started.
You literally learned the meaning of gypped.
Oh, they won't gyp me, trust me.
No, I know you said you went to college, but did you go to school for pattern making or design or anything like that?
You know, actually, I majored in menswear, believe it or not.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, when I got out of school, I started in menswear, but then I started my own business on the side, so I couldn't afford to run a men's business because I'd need tailors, and so I started doing these little knit sweaters on the side to just make some money, and they had a little bit of bling on them. And years ago, people weren't blinging things, and the Gypsies love bling, so they started buying my little sweaters for babies and mommies and everything. And before you know it, I ended up in that business, which grew into dresses, which grew into, you know, what I am today, everything bling. So, you know, it just evolved.
Wow, that's awesome.
It's awesome. And so I remember when I was a few years ago when I first started watching the show, the British version of the show when they first aired it, and then I was surprised that they had an American version. I didn't even know they had American Gypsies. So how did they approach you with the show?
You know what, they were looking for me for a while, and they couldn't find me because on my webpage I didn't put anything Gypsy. I never used to tell anybody that I worked for Gypsies because my regular customers would be freaked out, so I just never said anything. So they called the Gypsies and they Facebooked the Gypsies, and the Gypsies gave them my phone number. And one night TLC called me. I was floored because I had been watching the British version, and everyone was calling me up saying, you should be on this show. It's exactly what you do. All my friends that knew that I worked for Gypsies couldn't believe I wasn't doing the show. And then TLC hired me, and here I am. It's like 2 years now.
Wow, what a dream come true
Well,
that is.
And what's it like working with such a lively group of people?
Oh, the Gypsies are fun. I mean, it's always fun. It's a lot of people. Gypsies don't do anything alone. There's always the mother, the aunt, the cousin, and it's just you know, crowds of people. So
you said you had guests coming in tomorrow.
I have guests coming in tomorrow, and they're interesting to work for. It's fun. There's a lot of color involved, so they never want anything boring. They always want anything with more and more and more, and everybody wants to outdo the next one. So I have to constantly create something that ups the last one, and it's fun. I love it. I love what I do.
And do you have, you know, seamstresses working for you, or do you do everything yourself?
Oh, I don't do anything anymore as far as sewing goes because it's impossible to do. I'm on the phone all the time. So no, there are 3 seamstresses and 1 part-time, so there's 4. One of my seamstresses is from Waltham. She's going to be 87.
Oh my
She's working with me
gosh.
for 20 years. I don't let her pick up the big wedding dresses because they're 80 pounds. So the other girls sew those. So she's so little. And yes, and then there's 11 bling girls. So blinging all day,
wow.
and so we have shifts, and everybody and I work every shift, but we work, you know, sometimes 6-7 days a week, depends on how pressured we are.
And how long would you say it takes to bling out one Gypsy bride dress?
Well, when we do the show, and normally for Gypsies that don't give us any time, sometimes they do give us 48, 72 hours. We can turn a dress, but we need the whole team of 14, 15 people to do it.
Wow, in that short amount of time?
We can do it, but it's insane. I mean, you've got 7 or 8 blingers taking body parts, so someone takes a bodice, and someone takes the back, and someone takes part of the skirt, and we divvy it up, and we're working, you know, you've got 8 girls working 8 hours, that's 64 hours in one day, and then the next day you put another team on that and finish it. So you can do it, but it's really pressure.
I mean, you have to imagine, it's just a full room of girls working on one dress, and they each have, I would imagine, a bag of crystals next to them, and they're just sitting there. And
we put them on one by one.
Yeah, that's, I mean, with dance, that's
why
what
they
we
look
had.
so beautiful.
That's why they look so great. Now, we're talking so much about the bling and how big these dresses are. They're 80 pounds, you told us. Why is that? Why does this culture need to updo the last person? Why were they the first ones to say, I need to have the blinged out dress?
Well, they're also big with cars and jewelry and diamonds, and whoever has the most carats on their diamonds, you know, everything with them is materialistic. So the bigger the dress, the more bling, the more money it seems to be, and so in their head, it's a status thing. You know, it's just whoever has the best car wins, and whoever has the most diamonds wins, and you know, it's just the way they are.
So is it? I remember when I was
status oriented.
When I was watching the show, I know they said that oftentimes the wedding is the only kind of time that the woman gets to have like a fun night about herself. Is that? Do you see that even with the American gypsies?
Well, they do because they're so sheltered. You know, they really don't get a chance to go mingle with their friends or go to the movies or join them. I mean, they're just married to whoever they're told to be married to. Very short dating periods, if there's any at all. Sometimes they're just told they're marrying their first cousin or second cousin, and that's it. It's 2 weeks from Friday, and that's it, and done.
And we need a dress, too.
And we need a dress, so, you know, it's when I can get the dress out, they have the wedding.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And now, would you say that the brides usually want, you know, bright colors with the bling and the poof? Do girls ever think about how heavy it's going to be, or does that not even cross their mind? It's just whatever it looks like, that's fine.
They don't care.
Suck it in.
I don't even know if I could carry that much weight on my body.
Yeah, well, I always offer them a mini skirt for halfway through. I try to make them in 2 pieces because you have to remember we have to ship this too.
Right.
So the skirt has to break down into parts, or I can't put it in a box and get it out of my office. I mean, the first dress we ever built, we couldn't get it out the door. For
Really?
TLC, the first dress we ever built for TLC, we could not get out the door. We built it was like building a boat in your house, and then we couldn't get it out. We didn't know what to do. So the production companies in London that works for this particular show, I called them up and I said, I can't get it out the door. I can't get it there. I can't get it in a box. So we had to call a trucking company and have it trucked. And when the truck came, I couldn't shove it through the front door. So I wrapped it in sheets and we literally jammed it through the door.
Oh my God.
That's when I
Wow.
learned. I said, we're going to have to make these things in parts that
Live
we
and
can
learn.
break down. Yeah, totally
Wow.
live and learn. Yeah.
Now, what makes them so hard to get through the door? Do you have like a frame on them or something?
Yeah,
or?
there's a frame on the bottom. There's a hoop on the bottom of one of the skirts that keeps the weight out, and that hoop is what makes it hard for them to get in and out of the car or whatever.
They
And
do
then-
always have difficulty getting
Yeah.
in and
Out
through
of
the
the
doorway,
car.
through
Right.
the aisle.
So these things are huge, they're heavy, they're blinged out. I can only imagine, how much could that cost a girl? What is the range of like prices for these dresses?
You know, anywhere from, you have to, first of all, Gypsies will spend whatever they have that week. So if they call and say they order a $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 dress, if they make more money that week, they'll add to the dress. So they'll call us in the middle of it and say, put more on it, he made more money, we want more. So they can go all the way into the 20,000s. I mean, it's just,
wow.
it depends. So if what they call their husbands or fathers or whoever's working, they'll say he's a good doer. That means he can make more money. So they'll say,
oh, interesting.
They want to marry a good doer. If he's a good doer and he can make more money, then the more money goes on the dress.
Now, do you also supply the matching accessories, shoes,
Everything.
hair pieces?
Everything.
And do you bling those out
Everything.
by hand
The
as well?
garters are blinged. Everything's blinged.
Wow. Oh
Wow,
my
that's
gosh.
great.
Lots of rhinestones.
Oh, I'm sure. Well, every girl's dream is something
Yeah.
blinged out in rhinestones. I know that.
We use a lot of rhinestones.
Right.
Now, I know I'm very familiar with the pageant world, so I know that pageant girls and gypsy girls kind of have that thing in common where the more bling, the better. If I can outdo her, that's the best. Now, have you ever worked with pageant girls?
Sure. We have pageant girls. We just had a wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
We just had a swim team in Cambridge, which was great. We did an Irish step dancer. So a contortionist just emailed us the other day. Probably will get that. Don't know how that's going to work. Might hurt when you twist around, but whatever. But I mean, we get calls for the craziest things. We've done a woman's cane. We've done wheelchair parts.
Oh,
That's
interesting.
crazy.
People have asked us to bling pretty
So no
much
matter
everything.
what age, you can get the bling, basically.
Yeah, we bling everything.
I'm guessing ballroom dresses also
Sure,
and shirts.
ballroom. We've done ballroom. We've done everything. I mean, really, there's really not much that I can think of. I mean, including a plunger. We blinged toilet paper once.
Oh my gosh, that's too funny.
Isn't it wild? It was for a gypsy. They wanted
Oh, of
they wanted
course.
their toilet paper to have initials on it. So when people went into their house for the house opening,
How'd you use it?
that's what I said. So they said, no, it's just for the front piece. So then when people come into the bathroom, they can see we have bling toilet paper. So everyone kept saying, but nobody's going to want to use the bathroom because no one's going to want to be the one to rip off that piece and throw it out. So I
Right.
said, if you want to give me money and flush it down the toilet, I'll gladly take it.
That literally is flushing money down. That's absolutely amazing.
But that first person that goes in the bathroom will be able to see that amazing thing.
That's crazy.
It is.
So what would you say is would you say that was the craziest thing
That's
you?
definitely the craziest request.
Now, how about, that's the craziest request, but do you have a favorite dress that you made that sticks in your mind, a certain pattern or color scheme?
You know, my own taste and things I do are usually for my daughter. Or I mean, she's 24 now, so obviously she doesn't ask me for things like she did when she was little. But when she was a little girl, anything she wanted to be, Cinderella, Snow White, those are my favorites because I could just create anything I wanted. There were no boundaries. There was no one telling me what to do. There was no money involved. I could just do whatever I wanted to do. So
Right.
when she was little, if she'd say, I want to be Cinderella, I'd go to work that day and cover her a dress in crystal. And she has pretty much every Disney princess. I kept them all done in crystal.
I bet she had the best Halloween costume
Oh, yeah.
on the block, right?
Yeah,
Of
absolutely
course.
not. I
Now,
made sure.
I know you said when there's no budget, you can just go out and do whatever you want. Now, I'm sure that you like to showcase or use the show to showcase your designs, but do you ever find it difficult when working with a bride's budget to really showcase the best that you can do?
Well, sometimes if someone doesn't have enough to spend to go with the idea that I want, I have to juggle it obviously to fit in the budget. But no, because we're real creative and I always find a way to work around every girl's dream and every girl's budget.
Right.
So no, we always make a pretty dress. I mean, I always go to the max of whatever I can do. If anything, I give everybody more because I'm just such a perfectionist.
Right.